And action.
All right. Hey guys, welcome. So today we're going to be going over a little mini professional development session during our PLC. We're going to be learning about a comprehension strategy that you can use with your students. It's called Question the Author. It's an active reading strategy, and it's particularly focused on increasing higher order comprehension. So I'm going to keep the timer on during the presentation, so I am being mindful of your time and my time and make sure we get our kids on time from specials. So for about the next 3 minutes, I want you guys to take out the do now I gave you and take a few minutes to answer the following questions. Why do you think our students often perform poorly in standardized reading tests? How do you currently engage students in higher order thinking while reading? And what active reading strategies are you currently using with your students? When you're done writing, feel free to share the response with your neighbors. And to mention too, I want this to be an interactive session, so feel free to talk about your answers as you're writing them down. What did you say?
For the first one?
Yeah.
I'm not rushing, not paying attention to questions.
I said they're overwhelmed by the level of the text.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
A lot of them have anxiety over a test in general, so they just rush through it so they can finish.
Rushing with people.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you went.
Oh, I also just said not enough time spent with written responses. I think our students have really good skills, often discussing books, but sometimes it doesn't translate to written responses.
I think for me, one of the things that I've noticed, my kids will read the words, they'll say the words, but then nothing is going on in their brains during. So I'm like, what'd you read about? And they'll stare at me like that, and it's really, they have no idea what's going on.
Lack of using visualizing skills while reading, I think, is a huge thing, and that's something we've been working on the past few weeks.
I wrote down that there's been a lot of curriculum changes each year and a lot of consistency. So when the kids get, concentrate and they talk to their skills efficiently, thinking it's not necessarily a bad thing, but their brains aren't fully developed yet to answer this level of question.
We're still right now, just so you know.
So not like they can't be developed.
Yeah.
I think their brains can be fostered and developed in a way that makes them think critically, but that goes back to developmental theory.
So just keeping in mind time, we got another minute or so. What are you guys currently doing to engage students in higher order thinking while reading?
We just talked about, I thought about in my own mind, asking students to show text evidence, but a lot of it is asking questions during reading and specifically after reading so that students are focusing on going back to the text and finding information, but not just sort of retrieving facts to retell, but asking inferential questions.
And then also using before, during, after reading strategies, purposeful questioning, having the students activate prior knowledge before reading to get them starting to think about what the text is going to be about.
Great. And last question, are there any active reading strategies you guys currently use with your students? I know, Ms. Roy, you have some pretty great ones.
We've actually even moved past that because the kids are getting a little bit more advanced in their reading, and it's more of a literature circle, which is what Mr. Biddle's doing as well. So they're able to come up with their own questions for each other and kind of part almost like a book club. You read a certain chapter and you talk about things you like, things you didn't like, things you didn't understand, and then that leads into author's purpose. Well, why did the author put that in there? Which is going back to something that they really struggle with author's purpose.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for that. So I'm going to quickly go over the agenda, which I always think is funny because they always say think, pair, share, and agenda, even though I already did it. So basically the purpose of this session today is to teach you guys about a way an active reading strategy to try to increase their comprehension while they're reading. We're going to talk about some successful implementation suggestions. Then I'm going to show you some questions I created for my higher reading group when we read The Littles Go Exploring. Then we're going to work together to create questions using Robert Frost's Nothing Gold Can Stay. And then I'm going to have time for closing comments, questions, and just a really quick survey. Does that sound good? Great. Awesome. So, general overview, what is question the author? It's actually a really easy strategy. You don't need a certain template. It's a comprehension strategy, like I said, that encourages students to ask questions while they're reading and not after. And why I chose this as my topic, it's something I feel like as a teacher, when I first started teaching reading, I would have them say the words on the page, and then I would ask them questions. And that's so dangerous because you want them to understand reading is making meaning while you're doing it, not after. I found this quote in one of the resources I used. It says the lesson is like a group think aloud. And I really like that because, we do a lot of think alouds through math, through read alouds, reader's workshop, writer's workshop. And this is just a way of saying that the onus isn't on the teacher, it's on the students. And they're analyzing the text together. It really encourages the student to examine how authors convey meaning to readers. I couldn't find the exact quote, but while I was doing research, they said something about the beauty of question the author is it puts the onus of comprehension on the author. So students aren't understanding the text. A lot of times it's not within the student, it's because the author didn't use good descriptive words or didn't have text features. So it also has kids make that connection to writing to make their writing better. And it also encourages student interpretation so that students are able to look at parts of a story that could be interpreted different ways and explaining theirs. And then finally, in order for this to work, teachers have to pre-plan questions and stopping points. It's not something you can do, just pick up a book and start doing question the author. So why question the author? So this is slightly blurry. Let me see if I can focus a bit. So I think we all know this, that our kids struggle in higher order thinking. So NAEP, the National Reading Test, only 33% of fourth graders nationally and 31% of eighth graders are proficient. So, we worry about our kids not being able to decode.